welcome to yet another episode of Marketing for Founders. This is Ajish Venugopalan, the founder of AJ&VG Media, and I have with me...
This is Sooraj Divakaran. I am the founder of Digital Uncovered.
Today we are going to speak about a very interesting topic, personal branding. This brings us to the topic as to why the founders or the C-suite executive should look upon personal branding as a very important factor. And also, how will a founder really know that he is ready for his first startup? Let's go ahead and throw this question at Sooraj. Sooraj, what do you think?
Let's say you want to understand digital marketing as a subject. Whom will you go to understand digital marketing more? You would want to go to somebody who has deep expertise and knowledge in the topic. So for instance, if you're thinking digital marketing, what's the first name that comes to your mind? It's probably Rand Fishkin or Neil Patel. What both of these individuals have managed to do is they've built a personal brand for themselves. They have deep expertise and knowledge in this particular topic. Building a personal brand boils down to having deep expertise or knowledge in a topic, right? But how do you go about building your own personal brand, right? So if you're starting from scratch, the first aspect that you should focus on in terms of building a personal brand is to have a unique point of view or perspective on the topic. How do you go about building this unique perspective or point of view on the topic is to read up a lot, gather a lot of information about the topic, right? In some cases, if you have years of experience working in this particular field, you will have a unique point of view or a perspective on the topic that not many people in the field would have, right? Once you've identified the topic or subject that you have deep expertise in, right, you know that you have to build your personal brand in this particular area, right? When you start off building your personal brand, you have to start by creating a lot of content around that particular subject. Identify channels or mediums that you want to use to sort of propagate this content. You could be starting from LinkedIn, you could be starting your own website, you could be starting a YouTube channel, right? Start with one or two channels, consistently create content, right? And make sure that your content reflects the unique point of view or the deep expertise that you have in the topic. When you create this content on a consistent basis, propagate this across channels, you will have people reaching out to you for this knowledge, right? Selflessly help as many people as you can with the knowledge and expertise that you have. When you do this for a prolonged period of time, that's how you build your personal brand, right? How will you know whether you've managed to build your personal brand? You want your organic following to increase over time. That can only happen if you have really good content which reflects the deep expertise and knowledge that you have. So my question to you, Ajish, is how will an aspiring founder know that he or she is ready for a startup?
I think, Sooraj, you answered it very well even before you threw the question at me. The answer is personal branding. I think Sooraj really covered how to go about personal branding. And I think the question thrown at me is, how will an aspiring founder, he or she, know whether they are really ready for a startup? The answer is very simple. If you want to open up a mom and pop shop, or if you want to do something smaller to begin with, and you are from a rich background, you have the source of funding, it's a very straightforward answer, yes, go ahead for it. But let's assume in a typical Indian scenario, if you are from a lower middle class family or a middle class family, you are trying to break out of the chain of the social pressures and the various different thought processes associated with starting up a company. It becomes a little tedious, and that's where personal branding becomes very important for you. One of the fundamental reasons is, or what you should really understand is, what are the sources of funding and how the investors really work, how the investor psychology really works. If in a global scenario, if you are from a B school like an INSEAD or an Harvard, you are already there. Or if you're from a great T school, you're already there. But what if you're not? You're from a tier 3 institution which nobody has heard of. You are not very good at an analytical capability, but you are a creative guy and you never believed in the academic merits, and you still want to be a founder. And if most of the Indian family businesses are run by people who are probably 8th grad dropout or the 10th grad dropout, or probably have dropped out of some sort of a B school or or a grad school as such. So investors really work on understanding funding rounds, funding round by your recognition, by your brand recognition, or funding based on your merits on innovation, or you can look at funding based on based on the power or the brand of your B school or a T school. So these are some of the ways in which investors really understand or try to figure out if you have been a consistent performer in the past, and that becomes a very important criteria for you to receive some sort of a funding. And therefore, it is important for you to build a personal brand in multiple ways. And why is it important? Number one, to attract the investor. Number two, to attract customers. Number three, you should also attract potential employees who will come forward and will be willing to work for you. So these are some of the factors why a personal branding becomes really, really important. But to precisely answer the question, when will he or she know that he is ready for a startup or she is ready for a startup, is to understand whether the person has acquired enough industry expertise, enough industry knowledge. Does the person really have a good network in that specific industry? Let's assume that you are starting a business again in a chemical industry. Do you have the contacts and enough know-how of the who's who of that particular industry? Becomes a very important criteria for you to get started. And you will know it the moment you become an authority in your subject matter of expertise. I think you will get to know whether you're really ready for a startup or not. I hope this episode has given a perspective for all those aspiring founders out there on the areas of personal branding, why personal branding is important, and how you really go after funding and get funded. It is not only good enough to have a good idea with you, but I think you should have the good network and the right brand value authority to ensure that you get funded on time as well. I hope all the viewers have enjoyed this episode. If you really like the episode, please click on the like button, subscribe to our channel. We will be back again with yet another interesting episode of Marketing for Founders. Until then, thank you.
Thanks for watching.